And so the guys are signed, right? We were worried about Emmanwori. We were worried about Arroyo. We knew it would get done, but the questions were, when is it going to get done? How much they're going to get guaranteed. So the details are out. Emmanwori gets a 4-year deal, 11.8 guaranteed. You got Arroyo with a 6.8 million guaranteed, $8 million overall over 4 years. So they're good. They're good to go. But in negotiations, man, it's tough. That's why when guys don't have agents and they're doing it themselves, you got to be immensely tough. Because I think of a guy like Bobby Wagner. I think Sherm represented himself too. They're going to say the negatives about you to your face. Like, look, Sherm, them hips ain't flipping the way they used to. Yeah. Look, Bobby, you're not getting downhill the way you used to. They use that stuff against you when it comes to negotiations. And I think John is comfortable with that as well. He's been doing this for 15 years now. He's been the GM. So the deal got done. What are your initial thoughts with that?
I think it is interesting to see the Seahawks do something that is so starkly different than really any contract that they've ever done with anybody, and is how much in guarantees that they are giving these guys, whereas Emmanwori is fully guaranteed. Like, the number that you see Emmanwori sign for, that's what he's making over the course of this contract. Arroyo making a really high percentage of his salary in terms of guarantees, which is not something that they have done really with anybody. It's always been, you get a lot of guarantees up front, but we're not going to have the later years of your contract potentially hurt us financially. Now, what Emmanwori is making and what Arroyo is making in terms of the total of their deal and really on an average annual value is so small compared to the rest of the salary cap, to where this isn't going to hurt the Seahawks, I think, in any way if either of those guys have problems and don't play out the duration of their contract, which hopefully, fingers crossed that these guys have great careers and they're upstanding Seahawks and whatnot. Like, that's the obvious hope in all of this. But I do kind of wonder, like, what's the ramifications for future contract negotiations with the Seahawks, especially a team that, as we talked about, was it yesterday or the day before, all these class of 2022 guys that are up for new deals or could negotiate now because you're entering the final season of your rookie contract. Like, that's going to have an impact on maybe what those guys ask for too.
This is a change that's happening in the NFL, and we see changes all the time, right? Changes in rules, philosophies. I remember you used to be able to tackle the quarterback low, then Tom Brady tears his ACL and they get rid of that. You used to be able to horse collar until a couple guys blow out their ACLs consistently, and you can't do that. Like, this is just what happens in the NFL, and I am all for it, but how does this affect business going forward? I think you have to change your business plan and business model just a little bit. I don't think you have to go crazy, and now every year your high pick in the second round is guaranteed a contract, but now when you get into those situations, they're going to use that as leverage. Look, this is what you paid him last year. He's in the same spot. Why isn't my guy getting a fully guaranteed contract? This is going to be a common practice, I think. I think the early second rounders are going to blend in with the first rounders. But we've heard that too, man. We've had experts on this show all the time, and they always say when it comes to evaluating players, after the 15th pick, they kind of all blend in. And then you get into the third round mixes with the fourth mixes with the fifth. It's just the way it goes. The most important thing is that he's here. He's signed. He's going to be focused. Doesn't worry about negotiating. You can just play some football now. And as an athlete, just being able to play football. No more classes. No more dealing with your agent, talking about money. You're a football player now. Yeah. You can lock it in, and it's a great feeling. I did it for 2 years here and then a couple years in Canada. And when you're just focusing on football, things get a lot more simple.
It's freeing, for sure, yeah. I just think that this Seahawks team and how much they have been reliant upon young players over the last probably like 4 seasons or so, starting with that class of 2022, getting these guys in as quickly as they could, considering the circumstances, I think is only going to be beneficial, because whether it was like maybe heading into that 2022 season and the Seahawks hadn't had a lot of draft success before then, I wonder if there was maybe something that changed. And I think it was Pete Carroll who had a hesitancy to play young players, and then maybe just based off of maybe a philosophy or maybe at the insistence of John Schneider or somebody like that. It's like, well, young players are what built the first dynasty here in Seattle. That's what built the Legion of Boom team, is guys on their rookie deals getting starts, playing above their contracts, and that allowed them to build out the roster around them and allow for them to sign so many guys to extensions. It's kind of like, well, why did we get away from that? Why did we get away from all these rookies? And maybe it was just kind of like a lack of talent from the rookie classes that were prior to 2022. But you look at the talent brought in here in 2025 with Zabel, Emmanwori, Arroyo, those three guys taken in the first 50-something picks. Like, I would imagine all three of them are going to see significant playing time this year. I know Milroe was a third-round pick, so he's probably not going to end up seeing a ton of playing time, maybe a few plays here or there. But, like, you drafted guys who you expect to contribute, so good on the Seahawks to maybe acquiesce a little bit and say, okay, we'll make these sacrifices in how we normally do business because we expect a lot from you. Now, in those expectations, these players got to now live up to that contract.
Yeah, for sure. Like, your first three picks are going to play. Gray Zabel going to start. Nicky Mawari going to play. Elijah Arroyo going to play. After that, you have Jalen Milroe. He'll sit. We'll see him a little bit. Riley Mills is coming off a surgery, right? I think he has to get healthy, but he should be fine.
Yeah.
Like, your first four, we did a deal yesterday or the day before where we looked at the first few picks in every draft in the last, 3 or 4, and they've hit. 2024, Murphy, Haynes, Knight, A.J. Barner, Pritchett, Laumea, DJ James, Michael Jarrett. We've seen all of them at some point. DJ James didn't make it out of camp. In 2023, Devin Witherspoon, JSN, Derek Hall, Zach Sharp, Anthony Bradford, Cam Young, I think, has moved on, right? Mike Morris, Olu, Jarek Reed, Kenny McIntosh. Saw all of them at some point, a lot of these guys for a while. And then the 2022 draft, which is a hit after hit after hit after hit. So if they could get 3 of these guys to hit and sprinkle in some extras, we know that Robbie, the fullback, is going to play as well. We'll see what Damian Martinez looks like. This could be a success, but priority number 1, get the top 3 signed because those dudes are going to play, and they did exactly that. And I'm happy that they were able to adjust a bit and weren't just hard-headed. Yeah. You know, sometimes GMs, owners can just be hard-headed and don't want to make a move. Maybe they got outside their comfort zone, and that's where you grow.
I think so. And hopefully this allows for maybe more harmonious contract discussions going forward. We'll see, because like we talked about, there's a lot of guys up for extensions. I know Brady Henderson has a piece on ESPN.com right now looking at what might an extension for Kobe Bryant would be. We talked about that too a couple days ago. So it's going to be. I don't think this is the end of what we have seen from all these class of 25 negotiations with the second rounders. I think this is just going to continue to have impacts elsewhere you look on this roster.
All right, let's get it. The guys are signed going into camp.